Hello, and welcome to the April 18th program, National Popular Vote, What the Voter Says Counts, sponsored by the League of Women Voters, Grand Traverse Area. The League would like to thank the Traverse Area District Library and Traverse Area Community Media, who provide technology and media support, making all of us look and sound great. Our partnership with these great organizations allows us to have live studio audiences for our virtual presentations that are shown on Spectrum Cable Channel 189 in Northwest Lower Michigan, on our Facebook page at League of Women Voters Grand Traverse Area, and on the Traverse Library YouTube channel at TADL, Not Just Books. I am League member Lauren Clark from Kalkaska County, your moderator for today's program. The League of Women Voters is a national nonpartisan organization. The League does not endorse or oppose candidates or political parties, but does work to obtain and distribute information to the public about candidates and their views. The League promotes the informed and active participation of all citizens in government. It works to increase understanding of major public policy issues through education and advocacy. Membership in the League is open to women and men of all ages, and we offer a special discount for students. Today, we welcome our special guest, Christina Schlitt, co-president of the League of Women Voters Michigan. Christina will provide information about the national popular vote and its concept of one person, one vote. At times in the United States history, winning presidential candidates have received fewer votes but still became president. States participating in the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact base how they would cast their votes in the Electoral College on the direct popular vote totals of their state. Michigan would join a growing number of states enacting a national popular vote, with bills being introduced in the House and Senate. Christina Schlitt has been a League member for many years, or in her words, since the turn of the century. She has served as co-president of the League of Women Voters of Michigan for several years and has also been a member of our Grand Traverse League since 2016. It is now my honor to introduce Christina Schlitt.
Thank you, Lauren, and thank you all for coming out here today. How do you like spring so far? The purpose of this presentation is to educate the public about the national popular vote and actions people can take to help pass the necessary legislation in Michigan. And we're going to be giving you some pointers on how you can help us get this through. Excuse me, the League of Women Voters of Michigan has joined the Michigan National Popular Vote Coalition. Other members include ACLU, Common Cause, Mothering Justice, and Voters Not Politicians. As part of the coalition, the League is engaged in a legislative campaign. How does America elect our president? The Electoral College, of course. You can see on the map the Electoral College votes for each state. Michigan has 15, 2 for each senator, and 13 congressional districts. On election day, you and I cast ballots for the candidates of our choice, but the real vote is when electors meet in December and cast their ballots. States are allocated one electoral vote per every representative in Congress. So who are these electors and who decides who the president is? The U.S. Constitution gives explicit power to the states to decide how the electors are chosen. Each state shall appoint in each manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors. That's Article 2, Section 1 of the U.S. Constitution. State legislatures decide how to award their state's electoral votes, a power that the Supreme Court has termed plenary, an absolute power of the states. 48 states now choose electors based on whoever received the most votes within the state on election day. These are winner-take-all laws. A winner-take-all method means the candidate who receives the majority of votes in the state's popular vote takes all of that state's electoral votes. In 2020, in California, Democratic candidate Joe Biden received the most votes. He won all 55 of California's electoral votes. In Texas, Donald Trump took the electoral votes. That means those in Texas that voted for Mr. Biden, their votes didn't count, and likewise in California, those who voted for Mr. Trump, their votes didn't count either. The problems of the current system are the problem we are the most familiar with. The person with the less votes and can and frequently does end up in the White House. 5 times in our nation's history, the candidate who received fewer votes nationwide became the president. That means more than 10% of our presidents have been elected without even a plurality of voters supporting them. I'm sorry here. Currently, we are in an era of close elections. Just in the last 20 years, we've had 2 wrong winner elections, 2000 and 2016, and 2 near misses. You might be surprised to hear that one of the near misses almost put a Democrat in the office instead of a Republican. In 2004, if 60,000 more votes were cast in Ohio, their ballots for John Kerry instead of George Bush, Kerry would have won the Electoral College without winning the, I'm sorry, all my notes aren't here. Kerry would have been the person to take the electoral votes and won the presidency, even though he had far less votes than even Mr. Trump did in 2016. Okay, another huge problem with the way we elect the president is that every vote is not equal. Most voters are totally ignored in the general election and have their vote taken for granted. As a result of winner-take-all laws, most states are decidedly red or decidedly blue. Candidates for the general election only campaign for a small number of undecided voters who live in closely divided states, or the swing states, or the battleground states. Also, 5 of the 9 Supreme Court justices appointed by popular vote losers. This all has implications at the federal level. Remember, a winner-take-all method, meaning the candidate who receives the majority of votes in the state's popular vote takes all of that state's electoral votes. So how should we elect the president? Well, I'm going to tell you. Whoever gets the most votes should become the president. This is how we elect almost every other office in the country, and it is time we modernize our presidential elections and make every vote count. Every vote being equal would mean candidates would have to care about the entire population's interests, not just those in the swing states. We would break the system where candidates advocate for positions and poll well in only the swing states. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get the rest of my notes here. Excuse me, I apologize for this. I thought I had this checked out before we started. Just do that? Okay. I don't want to short you on any of this good information. Okay, every vote being equal would mean candidates would have to care about the entire population's interests, not just those in the swing states. And we would break the system where candidates advocate for positions that poll well with swing voters and only listen to the concerns of voters in a small number of states. We can do this through the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact. The National Popular Vote Bill guarantees the presidency to the candidate who receives the most popular votes in all 50 states and D.C. If you win the popular vote, you win the Electoral College. This is a bill passed by states to change how the vote in the Electoral College works. States replace their current law with a new state law that awards their electors to the candidate who wins. Whoops. I apologize. So my excuse is I've been doing virtual presentations, and first time in a year I've done it in person. Okay, so states replace their current law with a new state law that awards their electors to the candidate who wins the popular vote in all 50 states and D.C. However, the bill is in effect when the states with 270 electoral votes have been committed to the compact, thus guaranteeing the Electoral College to the winner of the national popular vote. That's right, we can have a national popular vote for president without a U.S. constitutional amendment, and it is because of these 17 words that are in the Constitution. Sound far-fetched? It isn't. This bill has been passed in 16 states with 195 electoral votes so far. In previous years, it has passed in at least one chamber in 9 additional states with 88 electoral votes. Right now, Minnesota legislature is looking at this, and so is Maine, and yesterday I heard that Nevada just passed it. National popular vote bills are currently pending in a dozen state legislatures. Now, let's debunk some of the myths that are out there. National popular vote is beginning to gain some attention throughout the states. As you saw, 16 states with 195 electoral votes. So there's a lot of pushback that's starting to happen right now. This bill is not a reaction to the 2016 election and was in existence a full decade before Donald Trump was elected. It was first passed in 2007. This isn't a left or a right issue. It's an American issue that all voters can and should get behind. In 2018, 15 Republican senators in Michigan joined with Democrats to sponsor the National Popular Vote bill. The small states, the 13 states with only 3 or 4 electoral votes, are the most disadvantaged and ignored group of states under the current state-by-state winner-take-all method of awarding electoral votes. The reason is that political power in presidential elections comes from a closely divided battleground state, and almost all of the small states are non-competitive states. As this graphic shows, of the states with 3 or 4 electoral votes, I got it. 3 or 4 electoral votes, 7 are decidedly Republican and 7 are decidedly Democrats. The small states are not ignored because of their low population, but because they are not closely divided battleground states. The small states of Hawaii, Delaware, Rhode Island, Vermont, and D.C. have already signed on to the national popular vote because they believe it makes their voters more relevant. People sometimes fear that the candidates will visit the highest population states. Every vote in every state would matter in every presidential election under national popular vote. Under a national popular vote, a voter in a small state would become as important as any other voter in the United States. Will New York City and LA decide who the president is? No. It is a common misconception that people fear that the big cities will decide an election under national popular vote. This stems from people thinking cities are bigger than they actually are. In fact, 19.6% of the U.S. lives in 100 largest cities, while 20% of the country lives in rural America. To win a national popular vote, you can't just campaign to the 20% of the people in rural America any more than you can talk to the people in the cities. To win a national popular vote, you need to talk to everybody, both groups, as well as the 60% of Americans who live in the suburbs and are evenly divided between Democrats and Republicans. Currently, we have two kinds of voters in presidential elections: those in flyover states and are irrelevant, and those in battleground states who are hyper-relevant. National popular vote corrects this. We don't have to guess about this because we know when every vote matters. For example, when within battleground states, candidates go all over the state because every vote matters and has the chance to clinch the state's electoral votes. After coming up with the concept of electors choosing the president, the founders debated how those electors should be chosen. Our current system is nothing like it was at the founding of our country. In the first presidential election, only 5 states allowed citizens to vote for the president in any form. Founders ultimately decided to leave it up to the states to decide. The state legislature was the closest body to the people. They could decide what was best for voters in their state. We are looking to state legislatures to change their laws exactly as the framers intended. It is, in fact, state legislatures' constitutional duty to consider this matter. The National Popular Vote Bill will guarantee the presidency to the candidate with the most votes. Every voter in every state should be politically relevant to the presidential election for the first time. The League of Women Voters of Michigan voted to support this legislation in Michigan using the national position. LWVMI has joined the National Popular Vote Coalition. As part of the coalition, the League is engaged in a legislative campaign to pass the national popular vote. LWVMI is providing educational presentations at town halls and webinars such as this across the state. The presentations play an important role in educating the public about the national popular vote and what we can do to help get the bill passed in the legislature. Keep in mind, this presentation is an advocacy presentation, and we are advocating through education. The bill has been introduced at the beginning of March, and there was a press conference with all the parties involved to elevate it. So far, it hasn't had a hearing, and this week it's not on the committee's agendas, and we're hoping to get it on next week. It has to go through the committee process and pass in the Michigan House of Representatives and the Senate before it can be signed by the governor. No bill was introduced in 2019-2020 session. The 2021-22 session, HB 5343, in September 28, 2020, 2021, introduced by Representative Kolazar, a Democrat, and it was referred to the Committee on Government Operations, where it died. As you can see on this slide, in 2008, the Michigan House of Representatives voted on House Bill 6610, and the vote was bipartisan, 65-36, but it died in the Michigan Senate. In 2018, the Michigan Senate's Election and Government Affairs Committee had a hearing on Senate Bill 1117, introduced by 15 Republicans and 10 Democrats. In 2018, the House of Representatives Election and Elections Committee had a hearing on HB 6323, introduced by 14 Republicans and 2 Democrats. In 2021, a bipartisan group announced a petition drive to put it on the national popular vote, but they decided to wait. So we are asking you to contact your legislatures and let them know that you support the national popular vote and want to see it passed this year. Email, call, send a postcard, show up at a town hall. Educate others about the need for the national popular vote to pass in Michigan. The bill has been introduced, and we will continue to send out action alerts and keep you updated on its progress. Currently, we have an action alert that was sent out last week, I believe, or 2 weeks ago. And you may not have received it, but you can go to the LWVMI.org website, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a button that says Take Action. Press that and then just follow the directions. I know sometimes action alerts will go to spam and you just kind of delete them all, but we're asking you to make a little extra effort here to go and take care of this. We also have on the website a link to the National Popular Vote website, and we are running Facebook ads that when you click on them will link to the National Popular Vote website as well. We're hoping to get it passed by June 30th, 2023, before the legislature takes their summer break. These national organizations are supporting the campaign. LWV US supports National Popular Vote Bill, and leagues, including LWVMI, are engaged in this campaign all around the country. Here in Michigan, we are part of the coalition, which includes ACLU of Michigan, Common Cause, Mothering Justice, and Voters Not Politicians. Here are some additional sources that you can check. If you go to the League of Women Voters US website, you'll see that not only do they support the National Popular Vote Compact, they have what is called the moonshot. In 50 years, they want to get rid of the Electoral College altogether. That's what I mean, 50 years, that's why they call it the moonshot. However, it is an active campaign. And then, of course, the National Popular Vote website, BrennanCenter.org has some information as well. So those are also good sources. And before we go to questions, I know that you're going to be asking me these, so I'm going to give you a little more information. Some folks object to the national popular vote on the grounds that it would require states' electoral votes to be awarded to a candidate who did not win the majority in their state. But the counter is that under the national popular vote, state majorities really become irrelevant. In all, state votes contribute to the national tally. And simply stated, the National Popular Vote Bill guarantees that the Electoral College and the presidency will be won by the candidate who wins the most popular votes in all 50 states and D.C. When enacted, the National Popular Vote will apply the concept of one person, one vote to our presidential elections, making every voter politically relevant in every presidential election for the very first time. And you'll probably ask me this, so I'm going to head you off. How does the National Popular Vote Bill work? The National Popular Vote Compact is a way for states to work together to fix the Electoral College and elect the president by popular vote without amending the Constitution or having a citizens' initiative. The legislature can do it, and the U.S. Constitution gives the states the power to decide how to award the electoral votes. Those 17 words, each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors. Article 2, Section 1 of the U.S. Constitution. The national popular vote will go into effect when enacted by states with a majority of electoral votes, 270. Then the presidential candidate receiving the most votes in all 50 states and D.C. is guaranteed to win a majority of presidential electors and become the president. Until the pact goes into effect, the existing method of awarding electoral votes will be used. Thank you. Questions?
If anyone has any questions, if you would step up to the microphone, if you're uncomfortable doing that. Somebody on the-
Hi, I'm Tom Stillings from Antrim County. A couple of questions and an observation, if I could. There's a scenario that bothers me. Okay, so we're here in Michigan, and usually, these elections are close, but every once in a while something happens. Like we had the gas tax thing a couple of years ago, where it was defeated by 80% of the people. So it's possible for people to come together. Suppose we had a governor, senator, or whatever, a really popular person here in Michigan. We all thought this person's the best thing since sliced bread. And we vote overwhelmingly for this person. But the big states, California, New York, Illinois, Texas, whatever, they like the opposing candidate. So we go to bed after the election knowing that we voted overwhelmingly for a person. We wake up in the morning and we find out that, oh boy, these other states had more people than us, and they voted the other way. So we're now disenfranchised. Our votes don't count. What is also an even worse possibility is that we find out that the election nationally, electoral college-wise, is so close that our votes, had we not been part of the compact, would have gone for our candidate, and it would have been enough to make the difference that that candidate would have been elected.
Now
That's scary.
That's one of the myths. Our votes, your vote would have counted towards the national total vote. Whether, it's not like the Electoral College where your vote gets lost if it's not the way you wanted it.
Our
It goes
electoral
towards,
college votes are what count. And
Yes,
they
but
they
you-
get controlled by the other states.
No,
You're
that-
asking us to give up control of our electoral college votes.
no, we're asking you to have your vote count because your vote, even though it seems irrelevant for your state, it goes towards the national total. So the national popular vote will actually rule, not the states.
This isn't a federal law, so you have the totals from the states that are subscribed to the compact, but the other states have there's no mechanism to force them to report their vote totals. So how do you get a true, it's going to be like your five examples. Three of them aren't really real valid. The first one, John Quincy Adams, there were 24 states, 9 of which appointed their electors by the legislature, and nobody was even counting votes. So I don't know how you can say who had the most electoral votes. The Rutherford B. Hayes one. There was, 3 candidates, and 5 states submitted competing ballot slates. Again, I don't know. The only 2 that are legitimate, I think, are the 2 recent ones.
Yep.
But I just, don't know how you're gonna get the other states that don't join the compact to report. There's nothing that forces them to, and quite obviously, they've chosen not to participate. I don't see how it works.
Well, the 270, this won't go into effect until there's 270 electoral votes, which you have committed to going towards the national popular vote. The others would be
I
less
guess
of
my
value.
point is, we don't really know what the true popular vote is if all the states don't report.
But they will report.
Why?
The total vote will be reported
In the compact states.
in all the states.
How
That's the
can you
national
assure
popular.
that if there's nothing that compels them to do it?
Yes,
Well, it would have to be a federal law, but this is not a federal law. This is a change of state laws.
right. Yes. Yes.
Well, they report it, but there's not an official tabulation anywhere. It's the news,
It is.
well,
Yes, it is. It's an official
and
tabulation.
if this is so good, why doesn't the League of Women Voters elect their national leader by popular vote? Thank you.
Good question. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, I don't know how many of you received this in your mailboxes in the last couple of weeks. It's from the Common Cause, and it makes a lot of sense, and it has some good graphs. But on the back, there's a map of all the states, and it shows the ones who have passed and enacted it already and the ones that haven't. And then it shows the two that are targeted to pass in 2023, and they are Michigan and Minnesota. So is it because we have a lot of electoral votes that they need? Are they,
Maine is also part of that.
okay.
And
yeah,
I think that's the number that they need to take us over to
To the
the
270?
270.
Because this doesn't show Maine, it just shows those two, and I think that would give them, that would be 70, what says how many? They need 74 more, right? And this would be part of it, but not quite, so we're kind of a target now, and
Yes.
for good reason, I guess.
We remain a target.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was,
it's called National Popular Vote, Common Cause. I can scan it and send it out to everybody if you want to, because there's a really good map on the back of who's,
yeah, I haven't seen that one
Right.
yet. That's good.
Nevada.
Nevada passed it yesterday, and Minnesota and Maine, it's in
Here, you look, 'cause
their legislatures right now.
I know it's over in here somewhere. Orange is passed.
Okay, so they do have Nevada as passed on your map.
Thank you. Yeah, I've not seen that one.
I guess I'm totally naive, but isn't the electoral vote is group vote? So if you have group voting, literally, most people are the ones that are going to influence rather than the popular vote, where it goes individually to, you go to the area
Because
and you vote.
our broadcast audience can't hear you. Could you ask that again? Sorry.
Again?
Yeah.
When I think of electoral vote, I'm thinking in terms of a group. Is that correct? So it's a group representation, correct? Rather than individual popular vote. That's what I'm saying.
For the most part, yes, the winner takes all.
Yes, and that's why, so that's not, can't I manage?
Well, because other people are listening, it's going on
I'm sure they can hear me.
only through the microphone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But go ahead.
Well, no, I'm through now, but that's what's bothering me. When you say popular vote, go to popular vote directly instead of all the representation that is needed before you ever get there. And then you may never get there. And another thing, many seniors don't use the computer. So how do they go and vote and do what they want to do and get represented?
There,
And they're the ones that are the most popular now.
seniors can vote, there are a number of ways. They can vote absentee, and now there can be early voting. You can mail your ballot in, you can apply for an absentee ballot, vote at home, and mail it in, and you never have to leave your home.
It's true, I can, but there are many that don't. And they don't go unless they're old-fashioned.
Okay, we've got early vote now, minimum 9 days early vote for every federal and state election starting next year. So they can vote whenever it's convenient or comfortable for them to get out there and do so, whenever they can get a ride, if that's the case. And that starts, there are some cities that are going to try and do the early voting in the fall, just to do a pilot program before the state and federal elections next year. I think Lansing is one of them. But not everybody is obligated to do that, and they're in the process now of working out how that will work effectively. That's the goal. National popular vote. Oh. Okay, we have a question that we'll have to go to this by the end of June so that it's ready for the fall elections. That's the target, is to have the legislature pass this by the end of June before they take their summer break. So essentially, yes.
You mentioned action alerts on the League webpage. Can people who are not members of the League of Women Voters take part in the action alerts?
Absolutely. It's really quite simple, the platform we have now. It's on our website, so it's public. Upper right-hand corner, lwvmi.org. Click on that, and the letter is prepared for you. You can alter the letter if you choose, and it automatically goes to your state representative and your senator if it's a federal action alert. So take a look at it, and there are some on there already. One of them is National Popular Vote, and it's really quite painless.
Hi, I'm Chuck. Thanks for
Hi.
being here today.
Thank you for being here.
I have a couple questions. One, when you had the map up there with electoral votes, I noticed there were 2 states that had both Republican and Democrat electoral, like Maine, I think was one, and maybe Nebraska. Do you remember that map?
Yeah,
Split their votes.
yeah, there are 2 states that don't take winner take all.
Right. Okay, so how do they do that? How does that work, and does that help you get to the goal that you want with the popular vote?
The total national popular vote. Yes, that would be where the voters would just be casting their ballot, and it would be counted accordingly and not overridden by electors.
So is that similar to what you're
Yes.
wanting to achieve now? So we got 2 states that are kind of doing that right
Kinda
now.
doing that.
Okay, thanks. And then the other question I had is, what do you see as, this seems to be a bipartisan supported venture. Are there some political powers to be that are radically opposed to this? And if so, who are they and why? Thank you.
There always are. I can't tell you exactly who they are, but there are some people that are pushing back. Let me see, there's a Sean Parnell, Senior Legislative Director of Save Our States, a group lobbying against adoption of the national popular vote, and has made 15 false statements about the national popular vote. I think if you go to the National Popular Vote website, you can see those myths. They're listed and then they're debunked right off the bat. Other than that person, I'm sure there are folks in Michigan that oppose it. We didn't start getting pushback until recently, so I'm sure we'll be able to find out who and when once the bill goes through committee. Are you all familiar with the fact that you can watch the committee, the Michigan Legislative Committee hearings? They are live streamed, and just go to, for the House, go to Michigan, michigan.gov/representatives, and then go to that page and then look for their TV agenda. And the same thing for the Senate. You can see all of the committee hearings, and then you can see when they go to session. So you'll be able to identify those that are opposed to it. And it's almost mesmerizing. I would listen to some of the recent comments through some of the legislature that has gone through now. So it's kind of interesting on a rainy day and you don't want to do housework. Go watch this. Okay, thank you. No more questions? Okay, seeing none. Where's Lauren? There you are. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining our National Popular Vote Party today. And thank you, Christina, and to our audience, both at home and in person, for joining us today. Also, thank you to the Traverse Area District Library and Traverse Area Community Media. Great job. To find out more about the League or to join, please visit our website at LWVGTA.org. And please join us for our Tuesday, May 16th program titled The Supreme Court, First Amendment, and Democracy. We will be welcoming presenter Eleanor Lynn. We hope you can join us here in person or virtually, again on Facebook or the TADL YouTube or on Spectrum, channel 189. Please also help us today, those of you in person, by completing one of our evaluation or survey forms, please. You either may have one or they're being passed out by our League members right now. Also, as you leave today, please grab updated Proposal 2 information. I believe it is on the table in the hallway. Thank you again for spending your afternoon with us. We appreciate it. It's nice and warm in here. Not true outside. Tell all your friends that this program is available for viewing at any time. Again, on the Traverse Area YouTube channel titled TADL Not Just Books, the League of Women Voters Grand Traverse Area Facebook page. And thank you all again for coming today. And Spectrum, yes. And have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.
And I apologize for my technical glitches.